Hello out there, TV land. It's the Goon Sports Radio Podcast. We got Black Thor. We got the Ohio Funk Captain in the house. We're ready to go and talk about some sports. First, I'd like to congratulate all the folks who were inducted in the 2020 NBA Hall of Fame. We're going to talk about three of them in particular. I'm going to give it off the ice to talk about Kevin Garnett, Kobe Bryant, and Tim Duncan.
Yeah, man, just a heck of a class. Sad and unfortunate that Kobe Bryant will not be there. I mean, because of the situation, tragic death, really sad that way. But he deserves all of that. And what can you say about the other two? I'm going to start with Tim Duncan, because I had to keep Garnett last because it's a special place in my heart for Garnett. Tim Duncan was just Mr. Big Fundamentals, as we know. He was quality. He played a different kind of game. It wasn't really super exciting. And it was what he said, what he was called, Mr. Fundamentals. Very basic, very structured. He would have been a great ball player back in the 60s. That's how good he was. And to be able to move that up into the modern day age and still not just work well, but dominate. Because a lot of people don't understand basketball. They think it's flash and dash and dunking on somebody and doing these other things. But being able to play the game that it was set up initially and be able to be a great teammate and also a solid guy said a lot. He was a great teammate. I would love to see him play with some other guys. Like I remember watching him and Kevin Garnett play, I think, on the World University Games team. Mm-hmm. It is, if I recommend this to you, they played together. If you want to see quality basketball where two big men understand how to pass to one another, it's one of the best series of games I've ever seen. I love that because I love watching a 6'10" or a 7-foot guy going to the rack like he's going to dunk, and then he just throws it behind his head because you know his other trailer is there. That's how you play basketball. And as far as Kevin Garnett is concerned, man, I remember watching the big ticket. I had a chance to watch him in high school. Chicago Fair came to Columbus, Ohio. And he was 6'11", and he played forward, but he was bringing the ball up like a guard. Yeah. And the teams he played against was really good. He had Ronnie Fields on that team that hurt himself and broke his neck. It was supposed to be a project, a top-notch lottery pick perhaps, and also a freshman on that team, the young man that died tragically, Michael Wright. Michael Wright was that went to Arizona and played a little bit in the NBA. Ended up, he had a tragic ending to his life in New York, but they were loaded. But Kevin Garnett, when he was in the gym, everybody knew what was going on, and they played Columbus Brookhaven, really played them strong. But you knew then he was a pro. I was like, man, this dude could go. And then he just continued to escalate from that standpoint. And one thing I really loved about him as I watched him grow is his conviction, the way he played the game. And he came in the NBA ready, bro. There's only a few people that you can say about that. You look at LeBron, of course, he ended up doing some things. I remember Moses Malone. Moses was a monster. Also, last but not least, there's so many others. But even though he didn't get a lot of the love, Daryl Dawkins was ready because they kind of threw him in his first or second year. We're playing championship basketball, and you're the starting center. So those guys like that, you just don't – those are not – we're going to bring you along slowly. It's like, get in the game. So when you see individuals like this come in and hold their own and really show you how to play the game like these guys did, and Kobe was Kobe, and from that standpoint, I'll let you guys talk about that. But just these three guys in general, to me, where they exemplified how the game should be played, but it was just another time. I remember growing up a certain kind of way. We played old school a certain way, and these guys really exemplified the way that next level of or next age of basketball was played.
Black, I remember watching Tim Duncan at Wake Forest, and he was a force to be reckoned with. I remember watching Kevin Garnett at Farragut High School here in Chicago. He was a force to be, standing room only, and every time he played. Of course, you talk about Kobe Bean Bryant. He came right out of high school, out of Philly, and played in the NBA. And this is, they're saying, one of the best Hall of Fame classes in a long, long time. What's your views on the Hall of Famers?
Yeah, I can agree with that as far as the class being the best one. Those three right there, to me, they played always at a different level than everybody else. When you have other 4 players or 9 players on the floor, they seem to be just above, a couple levels above everyone else that was on the floor. Kobe Bryant, it's not much I'm going to say about him because it's not much more it's not room to say much more about Kobe. You knew what he was, what he stood for, how he played with his intensity. Of course, he deserved to be there. I'm going to go to Tim Duncan because to me, as quiet as Tim Duncan was, he was an assassin.
Mm-hmm.
He was one of those guys that basically he just went to work. He went out there, he played hard, and basically he will pull you, even if you weren't ready, he pulled you up to his level and forced you to get there. He did with Parker. When Parker came in, when Joey came around, he made these guys elevate their game to play around him. And he did it in a quiet sense. He did it with a look sometimes, but he got the job done. Kevin Garnett, to me, reminds me of a player, basically, I hear what you guys said about Chicago, but he reminds me of a player that you, from time to time, you went down to your local school basketball court, and Kevin Garnett was there. And if you were trying to pick players, you always wanted Kevin Garnett on your team. For whatever reason, you just wanted him to be on your team because he just had an element about him, a little streak, but he had the basketball IQ to go with it. One thing I would say about Kevin Garnett, I'm a little disappointed, and I felt this way when he was playing, too. I think he stayed in Minneapolis a little too long because I think for that reason, the nation didn't get a chance to really see him really at his fullness because he was up there. And I remember it took a lot to get him out of there. And I know now he's having a little hard time with him retiring his number. I'm not sure what's going on with that. But I wish he would have kind of left there a little sooner, maybe came to a bigger market. So in his prime, because it would have gave the nation and more of us a chance to see him when he was playing the NBA. But you couldn't have a better three going at one time, man. Kevin Garnett, Tim Duncan, and Kobe Bryant, they all had their way of doing things, but at the same time, they played at an elevated level just above high anyone else who was on the court.
I think I posted up this on our the Goon Squad page where Kevin Garnett was talking about the time he trash talked Michael Jordan. And that's one of the funniest stories in basketball. And him and J.R. Reed, I believe. No, I think J.R. Ryder. Mm-hmm. And J.R. Ryder knew the deal, but Kevin Garnett didn't. So if you ever get a chance to watch a video where Kevin Garnett said he talked trash to Michael Jordan for the first time, it's one of the most hilarious videos you ever want to see. But sticking to that point with Kevin Garnett, he was saying that he didn't want to go into the Hall of Fame as a Minnesota Timberwolf, he said, because he didn't want to do business. He doesn't do business with snakes. Ice, what do you think about that comment? I know it's towards Minnesota Timberwolves owner because he has great things to say about past players and past coaches, but he's kind of directing that towards the owner. What are your thoughts about that?
Well, the one thing, though, is must tell you something because of the factor that he was there for quite some time. As Black Thor mentioned, he played there for a long time, and then he ended up kind of coming back like he's been like a player coach, and then in another capacity in the front office. So he must knows where all of the dead bodies are, from that standpoint. So for him to spend that much time in Minnesota, a place that he appeared to truly love, it must be something in the background that really is pushing him another way, because he was Mr. Minnesota, maybe to his demise of the really quality of his career. So with that being said, I'm not surprised. I think there's more to it. If there's smoke, there's fire in that scenario, just because of the factor that he was there so long. And the factor that when Stephon Marbury left, it just changed the whole dynamic. They can never be anybody else there. And I was kind of down on Stephon Marbury. I was like, man, you can't stay with him a little bit longer. Steph was like, nah, man, I've done my time. He moved on. But I felt for Garnett because I was like, man, he deserves better. But that was on him.
Black, what do you think? He's directing this to the owner, like, I don't do business with snakes, and he's not going to go in as a Minnesota Timberwolf.
I can understand that to an extent, but here's the thing I'm thinking, like I said, I think something, when he came back, something must have happened. You remember years ago, he signed one of the biggest contracts at the time to stay in Minnesota when he could have left and went elsewhere. So it couldn't have been a snake sneaking around that time, bro, because they were paying you well. So I'm thinking when he came back, and something must have transpired when he came back those last year or two, some things he saw. That's his feelings, I understand it, but at the same time, bro, you wouldn't be partly where you are if it wasn't for Minnesota. I don't know what I'm not saying that to over kind of shadow what's going on with the owner. I'm not saying this to have a point, but you got to realize you were there for a long time, bro. And, that means something. I thought they wanted to retire his number. He didn't want them to retire his number in Minnesota. If that's the case, I understand the Hall of Fame. You want to go in the Boston Celtics? That's fine, but the reality is, man, you're not a Boston Celtics. You're not. I don't care what you think. You want a championship there. The fans of the Boston are not going to look at you as a Boston Celtic. Let's be honest, bro. You're not a Havlicek. You're not the rest of them. So I understand what he's trying to say, but you was in Minnesota for a long time. And sometimes as men, we just got to sit down sometimes and hash some things out. Who's to say? But I just think if you was there that long, there's paying you that well, I got a question mark on it, brother. I just got a question mark.
Black, I'm gonna stay with you on this one because I got a chance to watch Shannon Sharpe a little bit today talk about the Mike Leach situation in Mississippi State, and I totally agree with him. And I guess Mississippi State, he put out a tweet that was a very racist tweet, and then he gave a half-assed apology for it. And a lot of folks are saying, including myself, saying he needs to go because this is part of his track record and MO of doing a lot of racial things. And one of his players, a black player, left the school. He's transferring from that school. And Shannon Sharpe was saying, listen, if that was my son at that university, he wouldn't be at that university anymore, based on not only this, but other things that he's done in the past. What are your thoughts about this story about Mike Leach and them trying to say cultural sensitivity courses, which I never really understood? That's not going to fix it.
Yeah, at this stage of his life, man, cultural sensitivity course is not going to do much for him. You know, he was in his 20s. I kind of get that to an extent. I just, as parents, man, you pull your son out there. But here again, why is your son going to play there in the first place if he done things in the past? I don't understand this. It's like sometimes black people, they condone the dumbest things and overlook the dumbest things. And then when something happens, they want to cry foul. If an alligator has teeth, eventually it's going to bite you. So if he's done this in the past, why are you surprised he's doing it again? So to me, the black players that are on that team, or whatever, if they really want to make a stink, hey, don't show up to practice. Don't do some things. The university, they'll start to think twice about him being there. Forget that cultural stuff. But as a race of young men in this country, I'm just tired of us acting like we have no power, we have no clout, we give our power away, and then we stand around complaining and moan and groan. So yes, the parents of these young kids should be in their ears like, you know what? You're not going to practice. You're not going to be there. Yes, transfer if you can. Get out of there. If you see a ton of black kids leaving that school, what do you think the president of that school is going to do with him?
Oh, yeah.
What do you think they're going to do? Because I'm pretty sure Mississippi, I'm sure their football team is probably, 90% black? What, you going to put 2 white players out there play the football season? Let's get real. But here again, we don't understand our power. We don't understand our thinking. We just kind of basically give it away. We mail it away, and we sit around, we mope and complain about it.
Ice, what do you think about the Mike Leach situation? I've been looking at him for a number of years, wondering why he's still at Mississippi State. I've always known of him being a racist. He's a Trump supporter. He's done a lot of things over the years. This is just one along the lines of a lot of things that he's done over the years. And I'm wondering why. Well, it's the good old boy system pretty much. But this should be the last straw right here.
Yeah, but the sad thing about this is like not his first rodeo, and I think he's kind of showed you who he is when he was down in the Southwestern, down in the Big 12. Then he went to Washington State or Washington, whatever, Washington State, and now he's getting this job. So, down in Mississippi State. So they had to know, and he's not been quiet about what he's done. They had some things where he said something about there was like some kind of depiction of President Obama at the time. Yeah. And he pulled that. So he's kind of showed you his cards, but he wins. It's not great wins, but teams or schools that are desperate, like Mississippi State and the SEC, they're desperate to win. So they will put that on the back burner sometimes to look away to try to win more ball games, because that's what it comes down at the end of the day. So they'll probably slap his hand. They might get rid of him, but they knew. You can't tell me they didn't know his behavior before they actually hired him as the coach. I just don't believe that. But I do agree with what Black Thor mentioned about the power of the African-American students and the others who don't want to play because of what happened. But again, as he mentioned too, we come down to the point of the ability to come together and form unity as one. And oftentimes in these scenarios, players don't want to do that because it's like, who'll be the first one? Because one person that stands alone, we know that doesn't work. Let's be real, okay? We know that. I'm glad that the young man that felt some kind of way didn't want to be there, and his dad made sure that he's walking away. I think that's beautiful. If it's not for you, great. But when it comes overall, we've seen that now. We've seen that. I don't want to carry this too far, but the Kaepernick situation, Kurt Flood, when you stand by yourself, it may not get the results that you're looking for. You need that unity. And the question is, will they take that chance to stand up? Again, as it was mentioned, they may not know the essence of the true power that they have. And when you're brainwashed or conditioned to think a certain way, that you might get in trouble instead of realizing that you are the true commodity as to what makes a program successful and make people want to come out and watch so you can win. If you understand that, then you can stand together. But most of our African-American, younger African-American young men don't understand don't understand their power.
One of the things that if you're a black parent or you're a black player on a Mississippi State team, you want to ask yourself, do I want to continue to put money in this man's pocket? The type of man he is, do I want to continue to put money in this man's pocket? Because you're not getting paid to play. He's getting paid to get you there to play for him. So do you want to continue to put money in this racist's pocket? Just ask yourself that. I was talking to Pop Ice, and I was talking about Cam Newton, and I'm like, he said, hey, man, I've seen Cam Newton all over TV. We were looking at the fight yesterday on ESPN, the Ali Foreman fight, and he was like, they keep putting this thing on Cam Newton. Nobody want Cam Newton. He should stop talking. And I agree with him. And he's down there in Carolina. So what do you think about Cam Newton? I think he should just stop talking. Stop talking about how he feels, all that stuff. Work out for a team. Get you another team, because the talking and getting on Instagram and social media is not working for you. It didn't work for Antonio Brown. It didn't work for anybody who did it. It did not work. So why is he doing this?
I don't know. I've been reading a few things. I think his situation is different than Antonio Brown. I mean, he is kind of special in regards to or how he acts a certain way and the way that he carries his demeanor. I'll say that. But Antonio Brown is just, he was off the rails. He was running into other people and doing some things, that behavior that was just off the chain, which some might consider criminal. Cam Newton might just have some different changes in wardrobe or ideas, thinking that he's better than he was before, he's better now than he was before. But I think part of it too, and I don't know this, but what I've been reading and what the comments have been, it seems as if he can't believe this. Seriously. It's like the first time that he's not the guy. And Carolina they don't want him. They just kind of like, look, man, we're moving on. And now it's like, I don't have anywhere to go. Then you have this situation with the virus and all of the opportunities that we have to impress a new team and move forward have been removed. Everything's on hold. And for a man like that, that's used to being the guy, and that's proven to be the guy, and wants another opportunity, it must be very difficult for him. I think he's perplexed, he's befuddled, and Mike can't freaking believe that, how the hell where am I at, and what is going on with me? And it might just be, I'm overthinking this, but it might just be something that might be quite puzzling, like, damn, nobody wants me.
Like that Fresh Prince episode. Man.
It might just be like, I can't believe this. I never ever thought in my life this would ever happen to me. So yeah, I don't. That's how I kind of see it right now. I think it's like, damn.
Yeah, you know what it made me think of, Black? It made me think of the time Kaepernick was going through a situation, and they put the microphone in Cam Newton's face, and they asked him about racism and everything, and he said, I don't know what you're talking about. And now he finds himself in this situation that he probably won't be back in the league if teams really don't say, you know what, I'll take a chance on you. And so I thought about that last week after we got off the show. Like, man, I remember when this guy would not speak, and now he's out the league, and who really cares now? Who's really kind of rallying around Cam Newton to get back in the league or to play on somebody's football team? Nobody.
It's justice, baby. It's what it is. You hit the nail on the head, but I'm just going to say that. I'm going to move away from that. In my opinion, he's going about it all wrong. He's just going about it very wrong, and he's out here. Nobody wants to see how you're doing push-ups or your shirt off. You're not impressing general managers. You're not impressing owners who are going to make the final decision to bring you in. What you really should be doing is showing yourself in a situation where you can try. You're humbled. You're looking for an opportunity. You just want to prove yourself. I would have my agent contacting owners to where maybe I can sit down and go to lunch with him. You need to sell yourself, bro. You're selling yourself all wrong. At this point, it's not about your skill now. Believe it or not, it's not about your skill, but you're showing people that do they want to bring this show in? Because you're a show, whether you believe it or not. You proved in the last 3 years, you are a show. And you're showing people, if you bring me in, the show is going to continue, and I'll have the circuit's going to get better. And it's one thing I think now in the NFL, these white owners, they don't want to pay for that show anymore, bro. They don't want to pay for it. Now, if you come in and the show comes later after you have some performance, they'll deal with you. But if you coming in and bring the show with you, I just don't think they're gonna drop down. I think he still has some skills, but he's marketing himself the wrong way. And you need to stop talking about Carolina. You don't even play for them anymore. Don't talk about what they did to you. They lied to you. It doesn't matter anymore. This is big boy sports. It really is, bro. You can't be crying about what happened back there when you kind of set the tone for what happened back there. I'll say it again. When Allen was balling and you chose not to come stay on the sideline, it said a lot, bro. Not only to Carolina, it said a lot to other teams. And the coach that you thought that had your back took him over you. Over you. Number 1 draft pick. So he's in a bad situation. I don't think he's going to catch on with the team. And it amazed me how these reporters keep throwing teams out there. Belichick, ain't no way in the world Belichick's going to bring a Cam Newton. They'll be fighting in the locker room, bro. Literally fighting in the locker room. It's not going to happen. You know what I mean? But here again, he needs to really do a 360, humble himself, and market himself totally different. But he's thinking just after the draft, somebody's going to get hurt. No, bro. You're a sideshow freak. Let's be honest. And I said this a week ago, 2 weeks ago. There's not an NFL owner that's going to pay you to stand and represent his team, look like little Robin Hood. It's not going to happen. You've been dressing that way, and you got to understand this. Because you can't tell me when he came, just think about this for a second. I'll get off this, and I'm sorry if I'm getting along with it. Remember when they were the Super Bowl? And he came off the plane wearing those damn pants? If you was paying Cam Newton, would you have been happy to see that for your quarterback going to the Super Bowl? Come on, bro. Let's get real. People haven't forgot about that stuff. He maybe think they did, but they haven't. And now you're still carrying on that same old mentality. It's not going to get your job, bro. It's not going to work. And at some point, he's going to turn the tide to where it's a racial thing, and it's not even that. It's your mentality thing.
All right. Congrats to Dawn Stanley. Made history becoming the Naismith Coach of the Year. Opie Toppin, who is the Naismith and the Wooden Award winner. He keeps collecting this hardwood ice, and I know that's your boy in Dayton. Could he be the number 1 draft pick? And what do you have to say about Dawn Stanley? I'm so proud of her. I'm really happy for Dawn Stanley.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Obi is like, you can't take anything from him. He really stepped up this game, and I know I'm probably getting some hate mail or some people still mad at me because I didn't choose Dayton in advance. But what can I tell you? He's an outstanding player. He dominated his league. And I know they said he dominated when he was there. Again, like I said, to me, their conference is down a little bit, but still can't take away from what he did. He was poetry in motion. I think he's going to do well. So I think he earned that right. And he worked with what they gave him. So whoever they face, he literally worked out and did that. So congratulations to him. I think he'll be a fine NBA player. Dawn Staley is, she's putting a lot of work. You know, she's a person that didn't have to either because she's already decorated in her basketball career as a player. And to see her really put in work like that as a coach says a lot. Says that she loves the game. But not only that, she's trying to set the example for other young ladies. And the sad thing about it is the fact that she's coach of the year, but she did not really get to expound on to show how good her team was this year.
Yeah.
And that's tough. I mean, Dayton will say the same thing. I don't blame him. I think their coach, Anthony Grant, who was a former player at Dayton, was coach of the year in men's basketball. So when you don't have the opportunity to really showcase what you've done after you receive those rewards, that's probably the most disappointing thing. But both well worth the awards, and congratulations to them. But just a shame they didn't get a chance to kind of play that out. I'm really hurt. I'm sick because I love March Madness. Anyway, yeah.
I'm right there with you, man. And those of you watching, check out our show. We're down to the Final Four. Me and Ice have been going to the 68 down to the 4. And we're going to have an NCAA champion, Black. But Black, this guy, people are saying he reminds me of this too, Amari Stoudemire. A slicker Amari Stoudemire. Hopefully he has a better career. But Yeah.
I'm gonna spend more time talking about Dawn Staley, man, because to me, I mean, you two basically elaborate on him, but I'm gonna go to her real quick, and I'm gonna get off it real quick. I'm just happy to see a woman in college basketball get to the status because nothing against Gino Eric for UConn. Women should be coaching in women college basketball. Seriously, they should be coaching, and I think women should bond better with women. So I'm happy to see that she's kind of breaking from the pack and kind of stepping out there, setting herself aside, and kind of good things are coming towards her way. The women that she's sending into the WNBA and sending outside of school, they're stand-up women. So I'm happy for her, bro.
All right. We're going to go to questions to Ice and Black. I'm going to go to Ice first. You got a question for us this week?
Yeah, I'm trying to think. I just had this. The NFL. So as we talk about the draft and everything, other people saying this is not going to happen. Actually, you know what? Scrap that, because Black Thor was going to. I wanted to throw something in that he's not going to be able to talk about because he's going to be gone. Dana White, UFC, is basically he's secluded, secured an island to host this event just for the necessary attendees and then the guys who are going to fight and ladies. So he's like big balling it. Like, we know they're going to have an audience. We're not going to have an audience. We're just going to host an event because that's what we do. What do you guys think about that?
Black?
To me, he's following the WWE, man. The WWE hasn't stopped, but they've been wrestling. Still throwing down the man, getting it done, man. It's like,
I had to rub my eyes. They was like, this is live?
yes. So, I mean, I applaud him. I think the idea, because sports is part of entertaining, the idea of taking it to an island, it throws some drama to it, some mystique. I applaud the idea, man. You got to find a way to be innovative and get things done, as opposed to the NBA don't know what the hell they want to do. I'm sorry, man. By now, you should have some idea what you're going to do. What you've been doing for the last 3 weeks. What's been going on? So I applaud him. He's basically moving his business to another level. He's moving, he's progressing. But some people sitting around holding their crotch and they're not doing anything. So I applaud him. And I really think, man, the NFL, they think they're bold stance. You know what? We ain't stopping nothing. We're moving forward. Now you start to see these other sports starting to go, you know what? You know what? Even baseball now trying to get out there early. Say, you know, we forget July. We're going to play in May because it's at the end of the day, it's that dollar, bro. It's that dollar. So the longer you take, the less dollars you're going to get.
Ice, when I first heard this story, we're going to talk about it a little bit more later in our podcast, is I thought of Enter the Dragon. Remember they had that island? All these fighters on the island, and hopefully nobody gets, messed up like some of those folks, like Jim Kelly. Jim Kelly was my boy. But that's what I thought about, man. He's not announcing where the island's going to be. I think if he could pull it off, he could pull it off. The UFC is never going by any rules and regulations, so they could do what they want to do. And if he pulls it off, and I said this last week, the first like American sports association that pulls off sports, and they get everybody's attention at that particular point. People who are not even UFC fans are going to be watching it because they're so hungry for sports. What do you think about this, man?
Yeah, it's like that scene in Enter the Dragon when everything's calmed down and Bruce Lee is there and he goes after was it Mr. Hine? He goes after Mr. Hine. Yeah. And then they get in there, and right before they get into the theatrics, then all of the guys are there, and then Mr. Hine goes, "Hop sing, low sing, watch sing." And they all and like 4 dudes come at Bruce Lee at the same time. And you're like, oh my God. But I mean, Dana White he does, man. If it's possible, he'll make it happen. And he knows the money's there. The factor that this is he's gonna put that island somewhere and just kind of keep it safe. The fact that he's doing it says a lot. I'm sure he's gonna put a lot of pushback from other people, but somebody's willing to take that money.
Yeah,
and that's just how it is. So that's who he is. In a nutshell, he'll put it back. If it's possible, he'll make it happen. And good for him. I'm a little nervous and scared because that virus ain't no joke, bro. But hey, if you gonna show it, look. Okay, look. Hey,
I ain't good.
Look. Evidently, y'all don't have no breathing issues. I'll tell you about that another day.
Yeah.
Yeah. Look, he like this. Okay, look, you keep one out there without no damn mask. I'm gonna let you get off of that.
I also thought about this too because the guys in that movie were quarantined. in their own room, and they sent women to the room. And I'm like, man, that'd be sweet if you
You could perform the next day, then you
don't do it before the fight.
That's what happened to your boy Jim Kelly.
Black, what's your question, man?
I came across this. You know, NBA is thinking about paying players 50%, reducing their salaries because they're not playing. And Cullum, the Portland Trail Blazers, I guess he's a union head, and he came out and said that probably of the 450 NBA players, 150 of them live week to week, and they could not stand to not get paid. When you hear something like that in 2020, what runs through your mind about what's going on with these NBA players?
Ice, I know you're gonna mention Cobra.
I think that you just had to see what's what. And you got to. It's really sad, but it does come back to your league. Comes back to your player association and what they do. And again, I always said that's why people were surprised by the NFL and why their recent bargaining plan passed, because the little guys or the guys that don't make a lot of money, they need their cash. So that's what they do. So I was surprised by the NBA because of the factor that they're supposed to be the players' league, things of that nature. So they're supposed to be taking care of their own. But yeah, like I said, it get a little tricky. Y'all always clown me about that Cobra thing. But that, as they said, that's getting real too, huh? As to other people that really is unemployed for real now need some insurance. Y'all laugh at me. It's real now though, huh? Uh-huh.
The first thing I thought of was Marshawn Lynch when he was talking after the game and with the Seattle Seahawks, and he was like, take care of your chicken. The money you get, take care of it. Live, in your means and take care of your chicken. And what it told me is that some of these guys are trying to live the lifestyle of these NBA players, and then they got folks that are hanging around them, maybe family members, and paying everybody's bills, and they're not taking care of the chicken. And because I think the minimum has to be in the 100,000s, and that would be enough for me to take care of what I needed to take care of and save some, put some away for a rainy day. But it always it got back to me when I heard that. I was like, whoa, I didn't think about that, because you always think that these guys are making millions and millions of dollars, but some of the guys, the 12th, the 11th, and 10th man, probably not making all that money, but are they taking care of their chicken? Black?
I got a funny feeling, man, that 150, we ain't talking about the 10th and 12th man. We assume that they invest them. You have a lot of cats making a lot of money just throwing it away, bro. They kind of just throwing it away frivolously. Like you said, even said too, they're probably taking care of some of their families, their friends, or whatever. And once you sign that contract, all you think is the money's going to keep coming. I'm sure at a young age, when you sign that contract, you think for the next 15, 20 years, it's going to be money, 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 money. And you don't understand that a stoppage may come and it catch you kind of short. So it's just sad that I know in NFL, and I'm sure the NBA do the same thing. They sit down with these cats when they come to the league and tell them, you got to do this with your money. And it seems like no one listens, man. Like they beat a dead horse. But I wouldn't think that the NBA, if they was to cut their salary 50% in half, you would have a hard time living, bro. I just wouldn't. I find that extremely surprising, especially when the strip clubs are closed.
Let's stay on. I have a question. Let's stay on the topic of the NBA. What if the NBA season is canceled? I mean, they just say, you know what, we got to scrap it. It's not going to work. Ice?
I think it'd be tough for them because they want to play. And but the other thing too, though, it'll be tough, and some people might consider it a disaster. But actually, it wouldn't be as bad as people think, because you want to see this, and of course, LeBron's back, and your favorite player, Black Thor. But the other end of it is, if they don't do anything, Durant was out, Golden State their guys are out, so it's like starting fresh. So we get to come back all the way brand new. So you might miss it, and you might, man, damn, I really like to see this. But at the end of the day, it was like starting like fresh. So if you start all over, you get to see the whole Monty then, baby. Now, you thought you had controversy and drama then? Wait till next year. Yes, sir.
Black?
I think they'll lose a lot, bro. I really do. It's hard to take off. Oh, it would be what, 10, 8 months they're going to take off and expect the audience to come back and be excited. I'm just going to say this. To me, you want to do a top 10, just take the top 10 teams or the top 10 records, forget about the rest of the season, go into a tournament, man. Go into a tournament. Find a way to place to play and go into a tournament with the top 10 teams and let them play, let them battle, and find yourself a champion, bro. People will tune in and they watch. You got to leave them hungry and wanting something for next year. Right now, there's no cliffhanger. There's nothing to bring you to next year for NBA basketball to October. There's nothing. What do you want to come back? See LeBron play his 18th year? I mean, you want to see Anthony Davis come back and limp back on the floor? I would take the top 10 teams, maybe in a few weeks, to get the season. Whatever your record was, with the top 10 teams, let's play. Throw the ball out there, let them play in a tournament, and get it going. You don't have to. Nobody has to pay to see it.
But what if they just have to scrap that? That's it. We're not having a season. That's it.
I think it's gonna hurt him, man. I think it's gonna hurt him tremendously. I think next year when the season starts, this coming up season, there's no momentum going in the summer. There's no momentum going into the season. I think it's gonna be hurt. I think less people go to the stands. It's just what's gonna be there. What is really gonna be? The NBA last year was fortunate in the offseason to have a lot of drama, people moving around, Anthony Davis. And just like the NFL, you need that when you come into your new season. There's nothing to bring into October and November. It would be dead dry, bro. What you gonna have? Basically, Jim Dolan doing something stupid that he usually does. You gotta have something to feed, man. There's nothing to feed off on at this point.
I thought we can get through one show without mentioning that man's name. Anyway, I think it'll hurt. We hadn't thought about free agency because you got free agents that are out there for next season. How that would affect some teams who were built to kind of win this year, and that can be affected. Players who just didn't have the money to kind of make it, and maybe have to be traded or go somewhere else to play if there's leagues everywhere else. And then you mentioned something, Ice, about Golden State. They can just wipe this season clean and say, "Hey, we're back, baby. We're back."
That's what I'm saying, and I think that would be intriguing. It would be, because from the standpoint of, I understand what Black Thor is saying, but just think, they get everybody back, and they just say their records are horrible, which means they're going to be in a lottery. They could get that big fellow kid from Memphis, and they just start all over. And then now the Clippers, whoever. I mean, you got the Clippers, you got the Lakers, you got all this, you got your boy over in Milwaukee. I think it'll be quite interesting. But again, if they can do it 10-team tournament, I can see that too. But don't ever sleep. Long as Golden State is relevant, especially the young people, they're going to turn in and watch Steph pull that thing out that string, bro. That's just what they do.
All right, we got a couple minutes left. Black, your last second shot.
Ooh, man, it's going to go towards Tom Brady in a sense. ESPN and the rest of y'all, please allow this man to go to Tampa and play football. We don't need to know what happened between him and Belichick. Stop dramatizing and acting and looking for stories when there's nothing there. He gave them the best he had. He moved on. That's enough. Stop acting like a bunch of women chasing drama that's not there. Please get off of it. It's okay. He went to Tampa Bay.
All right, Ice, last second shot.
Yeah, real quick. I was looking at some things trying to figure out this, but I'm telling you, I don't know what they're going to do, but I am intrigued by the offseason moves made by the Miami Dolphins. Trying to tell you, that coach down there, he's picked up like 4 expatriates. Man, I was looking at some stuff. I was like, and then if they make this right move on who their quarterback is going to be, it could be very dangerous. So keep your eye on the Miami Dolphins. And I'm telling you, I'm watching some guy. I'm like, oh, he's over there. Oh, what? And if they can turn this around a little bit, yeah, you may not want to face them Dolphins, bro. If they can keep this train moving.
ESPN, thank you for showing all the great fights last night. Do it again. We will catch you on Overtime on Blog Talk Radio. Later.